Welcome to a brand new edition of Simply Electric, where we are featuring the impressive BYD Seal U DM-I. This DM-I model is immediately recognized by its distinctive grille, clearly signifying that it is a plug-in hybrid vehicle. We've previously introduced it to you in a thorough review that included an in-depth driving report in the Taunus region. You're welcome to take a look at the video about this vehicle. I'll make sure to link it once more for you in the video description. Today we're on a quest to discover, with you and the BYD Seal U DM-I, just how far it can travel when using only electric power. We will fully charge the battery to its maximum capacity. Conveniently, CCS makes this possible. During a break, it's easy to top up the car on those long journeys. And want to see, 80 kilometers is the combined figure, 113 kilometers purely for city driving. We drive through the countryside from Neustrelitz to Passewalk, that's over 70 kilometers. And let's see if it can make it purely electric. And then we'll of course go to the charging station in Passewalk with you and check out how it performs with CCS there. Yes, in a second video, which follows a few days later, we'll be heading to the IAA Transportation in Hanover to test the hybrid consumption. He's supposed to achieve 1,080 kilometers here as a boost variant. We want to test that with you by starting him fully loaded with a full tank and full battery, and then see how it goes. I think the second video is at least just as exciting. That's why it's exciting for you to check if you're already part of the single electric community. We'd love your support. Subscribe, ring the bell, and catch the next video. Let's dive into the Seal U DM-I right now. Before we fully start, we want to take some time to talk about the initial setup with you. That means we have the Seal U DM-I available in the incredibly powerful and capable Boost version. It starts off fully equipped starting from 38,900 euros, but actually everything is included because you have everything on board as standard. You just need to choose between the 5 different colors. We have it here in a beautiful snow white. That looks fancy. DMI stands for Dual Mode Intelligent, and I want to highlight that because many say a plug-in hybrid is somehow a technology where you mix a combustion engine with an electric one and a transmission, and all of that together might result in less efficient performance. And they create a mixed sort of relationship. Then BYD declared, no, stop. We have an outstanding battery, the Blade battery, with a capacity of 18.3 kilowatt hours. We essentially need a hybrid drive system, specifically an input gearbox that incorporates both an electric motor for operation and a combustion engine. However, this combustion engine primarily acts like a generator, ensuring that basically the battery always has enough. The power is on and it's charged. That means, in principle, the purely electric range, which you almost always run down first to about 18–20%, would then be managed by the combustion engine to maintain an adequate battery level. However, you have the option to adjust it in the menu settings. Only in situations where you truly need the boost function, meaning you require the maximum power output of the vehicle, the combustion engine would, in essence, additionally couple to this input gearbox to deliver that additional power. It will then deliver the maximum power available. Let's now see what that actually means. The system power comes to a total of 160 kilowatts combined with 300 Newton meters of torque. These figures consist of 2 key components. Firstly, from the 1.5-liter 4-cylinder gasoline engine, turbocharged and delivering 72 kilowatts. It only has 72 kilowatts because, of course, it generates electrical energy at its highest efficiency for the Akku erzeugen soll und nur in der Boost-Variante sozusagen den Antrieb unterstützen soll, dann mit 145 Newtonmeter Kernstück sind die 145 Kilowatt des Elektromotors. Der hat sogar 300 Newtonmeter Drehmoment, damit er im Prinzip die fast 2 Tonnen dieses Elektro-Plug-in-Hybrid-Dual-Motor intelligent SUVs halt auch im elektrischen Bereich immer zügig unterstützen kann. Yes! We want to try that with you and now test the all-electric range. Let's hear how it sounds. 3,
2, and let's start.
Ha, full. Start is, I think, Stefan, around 17–18 degrees, right?
Yeah, feels colder.
Indeed, we've got some really nice tires here on board. Have you had a look at that size before?
On the left, I think it says 19 inches, 235/50.
Exactly, and those are not mixed tires, but the standard tires. Starting weight is just under 2 tons. That means with us delicate fawns, just over 2 tons. I would suggest that we get into the car and start driving off, purely electric. How far can the BYD Seal U DM-I actually go? Before we do that, go ahead and write in the comments right now how far you think he gets, so that by the end of the video, we'll surely know if you guessed correctly. Let's go ahead and examine the starting point in the car. We have the battery charged to 100%, the tank is full, 99 kilometers, the trip meter A is set to 0. By the way, it's currently 13 degrees, not 17, though I think it'll reach 17 today. I probably optimistically mixed that up again.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's a bit chilly.
Then I'd suggest we go ahead and shift it into gear to get started, and now we'll engage with you all to determine the all-electric driving range. There are a couple of things I forgot to mention earlier. By the way, we have already set off on our journey. One important point is that we are operating the vehicle in eco mode to ensure that we can, of course, optimally and logically maximize the distance we can cover. And we are driving in EV mode. That means you have two electric driving modes. One is basically EV, where you drive purely electrically until the battery is pretty much, air quotes, empty. Alternatively, you can drive in that mode, which is hybrid, and I believe it's called HEV, where the car itself decides when to engage the engine or when you will be driving purely on electric power. However, our goal now is to figure out the purely electric range with you. The entire process receives support through a careful review of the consumption list found within the onboard computer. This means you can see very, very well here whether we have used gasoline or not, and how much energy we basically drew from the battery, what the travel time is, and what the average speed was. All that can be seen in this very detailed and comprehensive graph right here. Additionally, you also have a very clear and comprehensive consumption overview, which allows us to determine the average consumption, and that's particularly for the route we're attempting to drive electrically. On the display here, it's showing us an estimated range for the e-drive of 72 kilometers. In other words, carefully, you can set it dynamically, or I believe it's standard. The standard is probably the WLTP value, but we naturally want to know this dynamically, our ranges in general, because consumption depends on various factors: velocity, weather conditions, presence of rain or none, and naturally the temperatures as well. And yes, 13 degrees is, I think, quite a good average for Germany.
Actually, yes, over the course of the year.
Every 10 kilometers or so, we aim to give you an overview. We're currently at 10.2 kilometers traveled. The electric drive still has a range of about 65 kilometers. The state of charge is 91%. Let's take another closer look at what this implies in the graphic. The average speed ought to be considerably higher than it currently is. It likely builds up gradually over a certain distance. And naturally, we also want to take another detailed look at the consumption graph, where he calculates an average consumption of 17.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers purely electric. That's actually a decent value, Stefan. Such a nearly 2-ton plug-in hybrid SUV.
Doing quite well so far, yes.
On board, you also have this cool menu displayed on the approximately 15-inch infotainment screen, and it functions really, really well, providing a seamless and user-friendly experience. That implies there's a solid and efficient processor behind it when you pull up the navigation system here, ensuring smooth operation. You see, it scrolls out very, very smoothly here, so the speed matches there as well. We have an excellent overview here. You can conveniently connect your Spotify account. You'll also have the convenient option to connect CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. So I really believe that you have a multitude of different options to take advantage of some great programs here. It should undergo regular updates through over-the-air updates to maintain its efficiency. When you take a closer look at the listed price tag, you'll notice that it stands at approximately 38.9 kilos.
I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that.
Choose from 5 colors, equipment's all included. The gear's absolutely really cool. So there's seat heating, steering wheel heating, along with seat ventilation. Up here, we've got a luxurious sunroof included as well. Why isn't it functioning right now? Oh, take a look now. You can quite simply fold it up with little effort. You are able to roll the entire blind back and therefore also have a truly substantial panoramic sliding glass roof on board. I find it great too, right?
Yes, it's nice.
In the transition period, if it were sunny today, I think it would be pleasant, yes.
But you're still too new for that.
Yeah, but I have to say, for the price, you actually get a lot included.
Honestly, that's not open very much.
And even the purely electric version, it's not significantly more expensive. I think it started at over 41,000 euros. If some say, nah, go plug-in hybrid Ollie, that's fine. We want to drive purely electric, which is certainly our preferred option, to be fair. That's what Simply Electric stands for. Then you have from a good 41,000 euros. Well, 41,000 euros gives you the option to get this BYD Seal U fully electric. If you're interested, go ahead and check out the playlist. I'll make sure to provide the link to that particular video where we journeyed to Portugal to give the car a thorough test. So, you essentially have a wide array of choices at your disposal. DMI, plug-in hybrid with electric assistance, or fully battery electric.
Everyone surely gets a start.
Feel free to go ahead and comment below to let us know which team you're on. Are you team plug-in hybrid or team electric? We've made some substantial progress. As you can clearly observe, we've reached 20,2 kilometers with the battery still holding at about 81%, and it indicates a noteworthy remaining electric range of roughly 56 kilometers. Yes, let's take a look at the dashboard here. We can see that very clearly. We were at 17.7 kilowatt hours, and we even overtook a truck electrically, and that went smoothly. Exactly. Here's another hazard in the way. That's quite common here with us in Mecklenburg. And yes, as we can see here on the dashboard, we're still at a fuel consumption of 0.0. And that's quite an impressive figure, isn't it?
Absolutely, let's keep it up.
Stefan shows you again very nicely how much space there is in the back, plus the large trunk at the back with, I believe, a good 440 liters of storage space. The rear seat can be folded to boost the storage volume to more than 1,400 liters. And so I think it's also a nice family-friendly SUV, isn't it?
Absolutely. So there's definitely a lot of space in here.
It's time again, yep.
The kilometers always pass by so fast.
Or why are you pressing the lens against my nose here? Nothing can. Ah, very nice. All right, let's take a look because Stefan, as you know, always keeps an eye on everything that's going on. We've traveled about 30.4 kilometers so far. It still shows 44 kilometers of range with 70% state of charge in the battery. Pretty decent, huh? Yes.
It's good.
Let's check our consumption list, but somehow the average speed amounts to 39.
It's increasing slowly.
We drive where 100 means 100, 70 means 70.
Urgently upload the following SDV.
Log 50?
Sure.
Sure, let's look at the chart. We're at 18.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. What's going on here? Well, let's proceed to test out the sound system. It's actually from Infinity at Armen, as you may know. I've got a really nice song queued up and ready to play right here. Handpicked specially for you all. Pay attention now and come to a stop. A school zone is just ahead. Very good, yes. And what I don't understand about the Asian vehicles is they make great sound systems, but then they're interrupted by some announcements. Chair zone ahead. Stefan, go on and film ahead. I don't see any school here, just a beautiful avenue road we're cruising down at 100 kilometers per hour. Well,
doesn't leave anything concealed. It's open to all.
It's possible that the cows are situated more on the right side of T.
Chair, I believe.
Stefan is onto something really big.
Because he's picking something up here at Taiwan, you mean?
Because he constantly seeks attention here, the BYD, which many Asians tour with due to its persistent presence. Yes.
Location. The starting point is located in the school zone.
That's why BYD probably, as some might jokingly say mischievously, included ADHD in a somewhat playful manner, where you can then very likely adjust or even customize this attention syndrome setup to some extent, right?
Likely to. It adjusts on the cruise control.
That means you also have some incredible assistive systems on board, including lane keeping assist, steering assist, and the adaptive cruise control system. Including the emergency braking assistant, he has a comprehensive range of active and passive safety features on board. It's also important to have a car that actively and passively ensures our safety. Yes,
Superb.
we're traveling with you through Waldeck. This is the well-known windmill town here in our area.
Winetown Waldeck, exact.
Winetown Waldeck in Mecklenburg?
Right, that's still Mecklenburg.
Yes, that's very nice indeed. By the way, we also have a new and updated mileage reading, which now indicates that we have traveled exactly 40.7 kilometers. We have 61% state of charge left. The purely electric range is supposed to be 36 kilometers. Now in Waldeck, the consumption slightly fell again. Naturally, he uses less in the city than on the countryside. And let's take a look. We could assume an average speed of 42 kilometers per hour. Yeah, and this is sort of a menu that has little significance because it almost always feels like it says exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's one thing, and it almost gives the impression that it only updates every 8 kilometers or so, something of that nature.
Okay, but this usage chart is quite neat, isn't it? Yeah.
Nice, yeah. You see the peaks here.
Well, of course, if I hit the pedal here for performance, because I'm not just driving around with an electric range here for the sake of it, because that's how he knows me. So if you're into hypermiling or something like that, you should probably check out Tesla Ollie. Yep, but it's gone, huh? No.
We have removed it.
Isn't our Mecklenburg beautiful?
Indeed, limitless expanses.
And Thousand Lakes.
Of course.
We have already experienced quite a lot, precisely 50.3 kilometers traveled in the BYD Seal U DM-I. Current charge is at 51%. It indicates an electric range of around 25 kilometers. Let's examine the consumption figures. We're now at 17.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, so relatively constant values. Yeah, and the average speed has now increased to 86 kilometers per hour. 46, right? Sorry, increased by 46 kilometers per hour. And what we haven't talked about yet is the chassis, Stefan, right? Yeah, what we need to talk about is that BYD, unlike all other Asians who come to us, doesn't build such a tight and comfortable suspension as we're usually used to.
Nah, it's rocking already.
That means if we just go here a little bit, you might be able to see this a bit more clearly. If Stefan films forward, that we have a really nice little swing going on right here. As long as it doesn't raise any significant safety issues, it's really about personal taste and preference, wouldn't you agree?
All right, good.
Because let's be honest, it rides like a sedan chair.
Yeah, for sure. It rolls smoothly around here. It handles potholes and everything with ease.
Yeah, so the question really is, should BYD then consider making any improvements in your view? Do you specifically desire this firm yet comfortable type of suspension? Or do you think, nah, it's fine as it is since some French brands also prefer a softer suspension setup and that's perfectly acceptable? Symbolically, I don't want to exaggerate it as smiling. You can judge that for yourselves during a test drive, or do you prefer a softer, more comfortable suspension? Share your thoughts in the comments. The road is quite winding and twisty just before Passiwalk.
Yeah, it's up and down here. This is a real racetrack. Impressive.
All right, let's have a look at the kilometers completed. We've driven a total distance of 60.3 kilometers. The state of charge is at 43%. It shows there is an electric range of 18 kilometers left to go, and the average speed has now increased to 49 kilometers per hour. Let's examine the consumption graph. Perhaps there's a new insight to find. Yes, it tends to rise and fall here, but it also dips again, resulting in a nice overall balance in the end. Yes.
It certainly balances out.
The fuel consumption still remains at 0 and the engine hasn't started up unexpectedly. Even during the overtaking maneuvers, he does it properly. He usually has enough power. It's not a race car. Nope.
It's not a race car, but it goes well, and you can still overtake, sure.
Exactly. Yes, the suspension system naturally also includes the travel comfort provided by the seats and the overall feel of the ride. And of course, we have Stefan's well-known and famous opometer on board. What readings is it showing today?
From my perspective, the seats are really quite comfortable. That said, I might have wished for a little bit more lateral support, especially since it tends to sway a bit when you're driving around the curves in a relaxed manner.
But thighs, that fits. Otherwise, as we said about the suspension, a bit firmer would be nice.
Yeah, I actually think the seats are pretty good too. I guess it's faux leather. Overall, when you take a closer look at it, the car really has a very, very appealing level of build quality. Absolutely.
Oh.
That is really good. With what I think, also a really good mix of materials. Here, everything is nice soft plastic. Maserati has also nicely added faux leather here on the shelf. Nice armrest. I'm sitting here well ergonomically, also with the steering wheel. It's a lot of fun up here. Again, just a kind of plastic with a seam. Looks almost like leather, but it's not leather. We have a nice ambient lighting that can be set to change colors too. Then here, a nice metallic strip with chrome, a nice faux leather. Then here, this green stitching. And for those who aren't fond of a black interior, there's another option available at the same price point. You can choose a rich tobacco-colored leather paired with black accents, if I'm not mistaken. Stylish, eh?
Which isn't really all that ugly, actually.
Well, if it's Snow White on the outside like ours, then you do a black and white here, of course. Yes.
B&W then.
So the Michael Jackson Memorial Edition, I'm inside. We we finally made it to Pasewalk. Pasewalk is, so to speak, one of the easternmost towns before the Polish border. Stefan, right? Exactly.
It's not far now, exactly. Yes.
Here is the good old Mitropa. Old Mitropa.
You just mentioned it.
I believe Pasewalk also has the highest number of beverage stores, correct?
Yes, I'm really not intending to be disrespectful here.
No, Pasewalk is truly one of the most beautiful towns. Here you also cross over the Jürke, which probably then leads to Jürkemünde.
Exactly, we're basically between Jürke and Rando.
Exactly, because there's also Rando, a Jürke-Rando circle. So you see, with us, you really get to know Mecklenburg all the way to Poland. Certainly, what we additionally are eager to explore is approximately 70.5 kilometers with the BYD Seal U DM-I vehicle. That means we still have a 36% state of charge remaining. It is still indicating 12 kilometers of electric range available to us. That implies the average. Electrically, we've surpassed it already, yes?
That's really quite good, yes.
But it also shows, on the other hand, that BYD is actually pretty honest and not just putting down some unreal figures that you can't achieve in everyday life. We still have 13 degrees and it drizzled a little earlier, which are indeed values that seem quite realistic, right?
Indeed.
We have a consumption of 16.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is also excellent for a plug-in hybrid, and we have an average speed of around 50 kilometers per hour. I have to give BYD some praise here. Why praise? Because they simply build an efficient car. Because with some combustion engines, I'm already talking nonsense, with some electric SUVs, just remember please. It's really tough to reach that consumption when driving on land at 100? Yes.
Correct. Yes, there it is.
So, and then we also kind of break the existing prejudice. It's like, well, we have these two worlds here that we are dealing with, one with the combustion engine and the other with the electric. But BYD combines that really well here with an interesting management and thus ensures the appropriate range. Just 18.3 kilowatt hours are in the battery.
Of course.
We've completed a distance of 80 kilometers. The charge is at 27%. It displays 2 kilometers of electric range left. Range, average speed is at 50 kilometers per hour. Combustion engine consumption 0.0. Let's take another look at the consumption graph. Yeah, the consumption has dropped back down. Of course, we've cruised through Pasewalk with 15.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, but that's really economical for nearly 2 tons. That's really good, surprisingly good. Now it's happened at 25% state of charge. The combustion engine started. We didn't hear it at first, but we noticed it. When 0.1 liters started to enter in parallel at this particular point, it clearly indicates that the combustion engine is currently running in order to maintain the battery at this specific state of charge level. Now we already have 26% in the battery again. Yeah, but 84 kilometers cross country, I have to say, is a decent electric range with 18.3 kilowatt hours.
Yes, that's decent, yes.
Let's take a careful look at this again. Average speed, we're going to examine it once more now. So far, we have used a total of 0.3 liters and 14.5 kilowatt hours per every 100 kilometers driven. So considering that, we really have to give BYD a well-deserved compliment for successfully achieving 84 kilometers solely on electric power overland. Chapeau. Many of you would absolutely love the chance to join us for a ride. We've managed to rotate the screen here, which is possible in the innovative BYD Seal U DM-I. Cool feature, Stefan, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Including the 360-degree camera system, where you can even see through the bottom of the vehicle, and here you have 1,000 setting options. So you can see that you actually get a great deal of advanced technology even in a car like this. And so you can enjoy a pleasant ride along with us, essentially experiencing it from a bird's eye view. In the BYD Seal U DM-I, you are provided with a 60-liter fuel tank, and when combined, BYD asserts that the range here for the Boost variant is approximately 1,080 kilometers. That translates to a total electric range of 80 kilometers.
And thousands for burners.
Exactly, we want to check that because we have now driven exactly 25 kilometers, you see that, 84 to 109,2 in hybrid mode, and we see the consumption here. That's 1.2 liters. Multiply by 4 and you get consumption per 100 kilometers. So 4.8 liters. So let's just say, okay, come on, if we round it up, the 5 liters consumption for each time 60 kilometers would actually mean even 1,200 kilometers plus the 80 kilometers electric range. 1,280 kilometers, that'd be amazing.
That would be truly spectacular indeed.
But I don't believe the story because you don't constantly drive across the country and through villages, you drive on the highway. It's about long trips, and we'll be testing that with all of you in an upcoming video. That means we will determine the range using a full battery and a full tank together in a hybrid manner. That's why feel free to check again if you've subscribed to the channel so you don't miss this video, the second video. Here in Passywalk, we also have a nice shopping center with 2 ENBW chargers, one with 2 times 150 kilowatts and one 200 times 300 kilowatts. That's nice, right? Yeah. So is Passywalk becoming your favorite city?
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. With up to 18 kilowatt, it's actually almost criminal to plug into such a big chunky Alpitronic. You could even do it with the BYD Seal U DM-I. Charged with CCS, so alongside the Type 2 connection where you can charge AC with 3-phase 11 kilowatts, taking 2 to 2.5 hours for a full charge. It's also for traveling, just as we do when charging with CCS. Yeah, you can get maximum peaks reaching up to 18 kilowatt peak, and we're currently charging here with 16, but I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Just a moment, there it is. We're now charging with 16 kilowatts instead of 18, and then apparently from 30 to 80%, it should somehow take, I don't know, 35 minutes. And yeah, to be honest, we always have about 20 or 25% left in the battery. And then to reach 100, you'd probably be standing here for about 45 minutes to an hour. I'd guess that too. Earlier, when we fully charged, it was only using 5 kilowatts CCS. So from that perspective, I believe BYD has a bit of room to grow. Why? Because the competitors, let's think of Great Wall Motors, the GWM 05, which you have already seen here on the channel. Feel free to watch the videos again for comparison. It can charge at up to 50 kilowatts peak, and some Mercedes derivatives we tested, I think GLC, GLE, C-Class even with 60 kilowatts, and we've practically charged the empty battery full within an hour. So from that perspective, BYD might have some flexibility, and these days you can even make adjustments to these things with software updates. You see, we have 25% in the battery. According to the display, it needs 1 hour and 3 minutes to charge to 100%. You're probably already paying blocking fees to DC after about an hour.
Might be possible, yes.
Yes, let's move on to the conclusion regarding the Seal U DM-I. Who exactly is this the right car for? I think for all those who are looking for a family SUV that's budget friendly at first, because at 38,900 euros fully equipped, as we have it here as a boost, I believe that's already an attractive offer.
Absolutely, yes, I think so too.
For all of those individuals who might not yet be ready to fully commit to electric vehicles but still require a transitional phase, yet want to manage their daily life in an electric manner. And you can actually do that quite well, I think, with up to 80 kilometers even across land. Then accordingly to drive purely electrically, and when you then drive longer distances, you just use the combustion engine to charge the battery, and maybe also sometimes when you need a boost for overtaking support. And then in principle, you have with these reputed 4.8 liters overland also a very efficient combustion engine for a 2-ton SUV.
Yeah, that's fundamentally quite all right.
And how it behaves on a holiday trip when we want to travel at around 120 or 130 kilometers per hour. We'll take a look at that in the next video with the BYD Seal U DM-I to see how far you can go in hybrid mode. From the 60-liter fuel tank plus the 18.3 kilowatt hours in the battery. Yeah, otherwise I think you have a high-quality car. You have top features with seat ventilation, heated seats, panoramic glass sunroof. Then Infinity by Harman sound system, great interior I think. In this particular price range with an excellent infotainment system where you're not just limited to using BYD's own setup, but can also easily mirror your smartphones. Therefore, there's honestly quite little to collect or gather, isn't there?
No, it's all there, truly.
Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments on whether the BYD Seal U DM-I could be a potentially interesting car for you, and absolutely take the opportunity to test drive it at one of the many BYD dealerships, so you can get a sense of a head-gut feeling after watching our video. And with that, we've reached the very end of our video today. I truly hope that you thoroughly enjoyed watching it. You kindly give it a thumbs up. Please check once more to see if you are a member of the Simply Electric community. If not, we'd be thrilled if you could support us by subscribing. Please be sure to ring the bell so you won't miss out on the second video, which will cover the hybrid drive and the maximum range features in detail. Otherwise, just thank you very much for watching. Stay healthy, take care, and see you soon. From your friend Ollie here. Hey Stefan, I almost missed something important. Yes?
What's wrong again?
Look, it's painted in body color again.
Oh, take a look, and you'll see that's the reason why it didn't end up failing.
The ever-trusty and dependable old Heifel key.
Seems like it really can't be done without it. No.
Okay,